Hey, it's Chris Miles. Welcome to another episode of New on Music Row. Gonna have a little bit of a shorter episode today because I've got a very special treat for you, something I've been talking about for a couple of episodes now. Got a artist that's going to be here in studio. We'll change things around and that kind of stuff just so we can accommodate another individual in here. But I've got a very special treat for you. I don't want to give too much away at this point, but let's just say that I think the song that you're going to be hearing is going to be one called Summer Love, and you may or may not remember that from another episode, but we'll get into that in just a second. Let's go back to what we did last week, the 5 picks from last week. Stay Country or Die Trying by Blake Shelton. Where did that end up? Well, if you remember last episode, I told you like it was probably already close to like 1 million streams or something like that. Well, actually, it ended up at 1.6 million streams and growing. Of course, don't forget, the more you listen to the song, the better off it does. So, hey, give that song a listen. If you haven't heard Texas yet, it is available on streaming platforms. Take a look at that. That's the one that I think is going to be another big hit for, of course, Blake Shelton. And, I mean, Mayberry. Did you listen to that, like I said last week, with the collaboration there with Rascal Flatts? Absolutely amazing, too. I'm looking forward to that whole album from Rascal Flatts as well. But I digress. Let's move on. Pick number 2 of last week, Week by Preston Cooper. And yes, I know I said week and then week right back to back like that, but that's really what it is. It is called Week. That's the name of the song. Preston Cooper, an artist that I think you should be listening to. A guy from Fredericktown, Ohio. So right here in the Midwest, that song got over 400,000 streams last week. An amazing voice, and hopefully one of these days we might be able to get him on the show as well too. I mean, he's local, right? Sort of, kind of, right? And then we had Kids Like Me, Noah Thompson, that had about 28,000 streams. Noah, of course, the winner of American Idol season 20. And we also featured The Bird, which I won't get into the visual of that, but if Alex Miller featuring Tracy Bird, of course, that had about 62,000 streams last week. And then last but not least, You Were There by Thompson Square, about 5,000 streams for the week, about where I thought it was going to land. But I think this is one of those songs that may pop up on the wedding circuit, so to speak. Might be a first dance song for people. Hopefully they release like a wedding song version. You know when artists do that, they do like a totally different version, more of an acoustic version of their song. Maybe the Thompson Square will do that for us as well. But that could be up and coming and moving and growing and shaking, as they say in the industry, right? So let's get right into it. The meat and potatoes of the show. 5 picks of this week. Of course, these are songs that are coming out for radio. They may already be available on certain streaming platforms, but they are totally available today. But you might have heard a couple of these before. Bottle Rockets by Scotty McCreery is the first one that I'm going to put on the list there. Do I need to talk about Scotty McCreery? I mean, American Idol 10th season winner. You remember him, the guy with the deep, deep voice. Yeah. Damn Straight's one of my favorite songs from him. Oh, my God. I love that song so much. Also like You Time. That's another great song. It can be used for, other purposes, I guess. Anyway, Cab in a Solo, another one of his great hits as well. The list just goes on and on. Scotty McCreery's just got that amazing voice, and he showed it to us in season 10 of American Idol. Scotty, of course, from Garner, North Carolina. Check out Bottle Rockets featuring Hootie and the Blowfish, because it's got a certain song by Hootie in the chorus, so to speak. I won't ruin it for you. Make sure you listen to that. Next up, Glass Half Empty by Midland. You've heard them before. Drinking Problem, real big hit from them. Recently, they were featured on Mackenzie Carpenter's I Wish You Would. Amazing song. If you haven't heard that, check it out as well. Mackenzie, up-and-coming artist herself. And I just, Midland is one of those groups where you just know that they're just going to keep producing hit after hit after hit. And Glass Half Empty, definitely going to be one of those. Band originating from Dipping Springs, Texas. And moving on to number 3, Lose You Too by Sam Williams. Sam from Nashville, Tennessee. Do you know who he is? If you don't know who he is, you probably know his dad, and you probably know his granddad, especially if you've been listening to country music for a while. His granddad is Hank Williams, and his dad is Hank Williams Jr. Give him a listen. He's got some great songs out there. No Problem is a good song of his. Weatherman, that's the one that most people have listened to. That's the one that's got the most streams at this point. My favorite song by him is Dark Water. I really love it. Sam's got a really interesting voice and a really interesting way about him, singing and songwriting as well. That's the 3rd pick of the week. Moving on to pick number 4, I Dream You, Faith Schuler and Eric Paisley. Living in Your Head, song from Faith. Getting Over You, another song from her as well. I Kind of Want to Kiss, and I kind of want you to listen to that song, if you know what I mean. My Italian's coming out. I almost went, I kind of want you. Anyway, listen to that song as well, too. Of course, I Dream You comes out today, featuring both of these artists. Eric Paisley, you probably heard, or Paul Caesar, rather, you've probably heard of him. Friday Night, big song by his. Song about a girl and She Don't Love You. A great duet from the two of them, and I think it's going to do pretty well this week. And last but not least is an artist by the name of Clark Hill. An amazing story with this particular individual. He's a father of two kids, and he's a single dad. Of course, life threw him a lot of curveballs, many curveballs, which we won't get into all of them because he's going to be a featured artist on a show coming up fairly soon here. But Clark Hill's got a new song out on the radio, and how appropriate, because it'll be playing on the radio. You might even hear it in your town starting today. He's got some great stuff out there, and you may or may not have heard of him just yet. Clark, originating from Stark, Florida. He's got that country with a twist, as he calls it, kind of blending Southern grit with nostalgic soul as well. That's kind of one of the reasons why I like it. I like artists that, take the songs that influence them and then bring them into the genre of country music and make them their own. So, songs to check out from Clark: Waylon and Merle, Perfect to Me, Pecan Pie, or Pecan Pie, depending upon where you are in the pronunciation of that song, or name, I should say. Drink in My Hands, one of my favorite, and then I absolutely love his song Swerve. So, taking a look at the 5 picks for this week, starting off at number 1, Bottle Rocket, Scotty McCreery, featuring Hootie and the Blowfish. I can't talk today. It's because I'm so excited about these songs this week, but I'm even more excited about the artists I'm about to bring into the studio here to share some things with you as well. Let's just get through the list because we really got to get to this interview. Second up, Glass Half Empty from Midland. Lose You Too from Sam Williams, of course, the grandson of Hank Williams and the son of Hank Williams Jr. I Dream You with Faith Schuler and Eric Palsy. A little duet between the two of them. And then last but not least, and a guy that I think we need to be looking out for, Clark Hill's On the Radio, all coming out today, available on the streaming platforms, radio, and maybe even like YouTube or something like that, which is where you're watching this, right? Like the show, please click the link below to like, subscribe, leave your comments. Let me know if there's somebody else that you want to hear about. And I say all of that because the gentleman that I'm about to bring on right now was from some of the comments that some listeners have been giving me through the course of my career and things of that nature. I have the pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you a phenomenal artist right here in his hometown of Illinois, so to speak. We won't give away exactly where he's from, but he's from the Chicagoland area. I am so excited that he's here with me, ladies and gentlemen. So Andrew Salgado is going to come in, and he's going to give a live performance of his song, Summer Love. And without further ado, here he is.
It's been a long, cold, hard September, and I'm waiting for the day you and I had everything. I can't believe in just 3 months I found myself wishing for a way to your heart. That summer love that got a hold of me, dancing around in those 10 bare feet. The look in your eyes that just can't be beat tonight. Summer love, had a little too much fun, kissing and making love on the run. Wait, that your hand just fit right into mine, but you said it's just a summer love. Yeah, you said it's just a summer love. You're not supposed to call me baby, or 2 a.m. talks about how you want to see me. I can't believe in just 3 months I found myself wishing for a way to your heart. That summer love that got a hold of me, dancing around in those 10 bare feet. The look in your eyes that just can't be beat tonight. Summer love, had a little too much fun, kissing and making love on the run. Way that your hand just fit right into mine, but you said it's just a summer love. Yeah, you said it's just a summer love. It's live. Summer love, it got a hold of me, dancing around in those 10 bare feet. The look in your eyes, it just can't be beat tonight. Summer love, a little too much fun, kissing and making love on the run. Wait, your hand just fit right into mine. What you said is just a summer love. Yeah, you said it's just a summer love. I never know how to end that song. I really don't. Please.
The one about where your energy is and like, did you steal that from somebody
No,
or
so
what?
I still remember my first show, my very, very first going onto a stage. Well, actually, I performed for my family, and I would make them come downstairs and do tickets and stuff. But I never got an energy from that. I just kind of did it. But I still remember being 13 backstage, just like nervous as hell. And of all people, one of my family members was like, "Don't choke," and that made it even like worse. And then I walked on stage, and I have a lot of fun. And we were just talking. That's the first time I've sung since November.
Mm.
And I wasn't really supposed to. I've only had one day of vocal training to get back. But look, it's a 2.5 minute song, even with the full band. It's a short song. There's not even a bridge.
Yeah.
I just kind of did it, and it feels good. But yeah, there's all. I love to play even now, even after not doing it for so long. I've never had to get energy for a show.
Mm.
I have to get energy to travel. It wears me down. We were actually planning a trip that we have where we're going to be on the road like 8 hours a day for 3 days straight, and that to me that just sounds draining.
Well, 8 hours a day
Yeah, it's a lot.
for like 3 days straight.
Yeah,
That's draining. I
but
mean,
that's average. That's not even like a big day for us. That's just
yeah,
average.
I could
You
see that
know, it sucks when you do it in a car,
for
on a
sure.
bus,
You got
and
room.
yeah, you saw the bus that we used.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I'm watching films, and I go to the back and sleep, and I use the bathroom when I need to, and I
Right.
go to the fridge for food. That I mean, that's so easy to try. Anybody could do that,
Well, of course,
you know.
absolutely. So that's a great, interesting way to kind of start this whole thing. By the way, hey, it's Chris Miles. This is New on Music Row.
Yep.
A very special interview today with a good friend of mine, Andrew
Yeah.
Salgado. A little backstory on how this whole thing started. Through my previous career on radio, was fortunate enough to be able to play one of
Yeah.
Andrew's songs on our station here in the Chicagoland area, and that's kind of what kick-started this whole thing. Now, it actually fueled even more so when we get to the one question. Which, if you've been watching the episodes, I told you the question is, "What do you geek out on?" We're not going to
Yep.
go there just yet, but that's kind of
We'll
what
save it.
fueled
We'll
the
save it for
whole.
later. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll save that for the end. But that's what fueled the whole thing. But anyway, the reason why we're here today, and the reason why I'm so fortunate to have you here as my guest, is because just last week, well, 2 weeks ago now, right? If I remember correctly, you released that
We
song
did.
for radio airplay, and
Yeah.
so how are things going now? How are you getting back into
I
the
don't
groove of
know.
things?
Someone sent me an email about the tracking. I don't. So this would be something maybe you can learn. So you know everything about radio, and he's a great guy to get information on. Where every week there's a report,
Right,
and there's how many spins, and oh, Chris increased spin. You did 9 more spins this week, right?
right.
Like stuff like that. I stopped reading those.
Okay.
I stopped reading them in 2022. So the first 5 months were like when I first got onto radio. I was in Houston, and my manager at the time came in and said, "You're 163." And I remember going, "No, I'm losing weight, but I'm not 163." Because we had talked a lot about my weight at that time. So it was very natural for me to think that it was a weight question. She says, "No,
Yeah.
no, no, you charted." And it was only 2 weeks after releasing our very first song to radio. And I remember Bill Wentz, who I love dearly, and Jennifer Blair and Lawrence Hartman. They all were really honest about like, look, just because you're sending something to radio doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like
Of
we
course.
think it's got a good shot,
Yeah.
but that means it could never chart ever. So I was really prepared for that. And when it charted, and then you get a report, like it was 4 or 5 months before our wedding with my wife Autumn, and I remember going every week was like stress. Mondays were so stressful because that's when everything came out, and my wife was like, "You got to kind of stop looking at this," you know.
Good idea from her. And so, for those maybe who are just kind of getting to know you, what
hmm
song was that you're talking
So that
about
was
when you?
lipstick stains on my
Okay,
T-shirt. That was before you.
which is your mother's favorite song, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I just, so
which when I met her, she said, "Oh, that's my favorite song," and I went,
yeah,
"Really? Wow, okay." But hey, I mean, it's a great song.
my mom has the like biggest heart, but she's so damn honest. So many times she tells me that wasn't really that great.
Well, this is something I don't think I've told you, but
Good.
"Grace" is my favorite song of
Yeah,
yours. I absolutely love that
I had
song.
a very kind of religious moment writing the song, and then it was the first song we tracked for the album. And I remember I had just met this engineer that we flew in from London, and
All right, Mike.
yeah, oh no, 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 he
Oh,
was as
actually,
British. He was British as they come.
that was more
Brent
Australian. But
Aaron
anyway,
Hammond. I remember. Side note: one of the funniest things he said was that was the first time I got my six-string banjo. And the
okay.
reason we got it was because I was listening to a playback and went, "Damn, it'd be really great if we had a banjo, but I
Wow.
can't play one, so it'd have to be a six-string banjo." And he said, without hesitation, "You live in America. You could just go get a banjo right now. Just go get one." And so I was like, "Well, it's not really not that easy." And I called my manager at that time and said, "Can we get a six-string banjo?" And she went to a guitar store and got a six-string banjo, and they set it up, and we within 3 hours, I was playing it
Wow.
on, Why Didn't I Call You? That was the very first song we put a banjo on.
And that was the song that I was able to get
That
played
was a
on
song that you
our,
got,
yeah.
yes.
So that's where I join the mix, so to speak.
Yeah,
Which, by the way, before I don't want this to get away from me here, but
sure.
happy 10 years on
Oh,
the
yeah.
release of your first album, which was actually the 15th, was last week
Do you know
technically.
do you
But
know I told myself if I didn't do anything before that year, I would quit?
oh wow,
And then luckily, I had the album, and then we had a publishing deal where they went under, but at that time, I was with the publishing deal, and then I had a couple cuts that were public that were released, and I was like, "Okay, this is enough
hmm,
for me never to quit."
yeah, for sure. So, all right, let's fast forward a little bit
Sure.
here. We're talking about Summer Love.
Yeah.
And what's the motivation behind the song? I mean, listening to it lyrically and melodically, so to speak, you
Mhm.
can kind of get the feel for it. But is there something else there other than the way you wrote it and things of that
It
nature?
was our story. It was
Okay.
me and my wife's story. It was just really supposed to be a summer fling, and I was the one that was like, "Yeah, this is just for fun," kind of a thing, and
Okay.
my wife was she probably doesn't want me saying this, but my wife um, really wanted to date me, and I really was infatuated with her, but I was too scared and really nervous to do anything. The day we started dating was because she came pounding on my door,
Oh, wow.
and she was like, "This is dumb, and we should just," and it was all
Okay.
these kind of things, and I was that's when I started becoming afraid of my wife, and I've been afraid of her ever since,
Well,
and we're about to celebrate
almost
3
3 years.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. Congratulations on that
thanks.
up and to her as well.
It's
Um,
a lot of work.
I'm glad that she banged. I'm sure she's glad that she banged on the door and
I
got
don't know, I
in that
think
way.
she regrets it. I'm
Well,
just kidding.
I don't know. I don't think so. I've met her. I think
No, it's,
she.
I don't I was telling my, therapist I see every other week, and I have since 2019. It really changed my life. I wouldn't be married or anything without that. Um, I was kinda going through, like, thank God I have no issues at home because I have so many career things
Mhm.
that I don't know if we'll get into it, but so many career things in the last 2 years, and then 2 surgeries. To like so many other things, but the one thing that I kept telling my therapist is like, I got no issues at home, man. I have a new puppy that is a ton of work. It's a ton of work. And my wife told me, she was like, "You don't want to get a puppy."
Right.
I was like, "Oh no." And it fit in my hand the first day
Mhm.
that I met. I got lucky. My best friend was the foster. So we were there the day that he got them, which is not common. I didn't know this. You can't adopt a dog right away. They have to be with
Yeah.
the mother for a while. So I was ready that day
Oh, okay.
back in September to
Uh,
take the animal that fit in my hand and go, yeah, I'm going to take this home. And they were like, no, you have to wait 3 months. But just know, I mean, I have the best wife and the best support and just everything you would think about great she is. I'm terrified of her at times, but in the best healthy natural way.
And I think that's great. And if you two have this energy, when you're both in the room, that kind of just kind of dissolves into other people,
I
so to
think so.
speak.
Yeah, I
You
think that's
totally
from
do.
her.
You totally do. And,
She's
and
so
it's
positive.
it's both of you. It really
I'm
is.
I'm as negative as they come. Everything I think, like we just sent a song to country radio, and I was like, it's not going to chart, and I think it already has X amount of spins or whatever.
Yeah.
We've never had a song not hit the top 60 on Music Row or
Right.
something like that,
Mhm.
and so we're only four. I think we're only 4 or 5 songs in. That's not a from someone who's done this for as long as you have. That's not a lot of anything. It's still fairly feet wet, maybe
New.
paying
Yeah.
your dues, new,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I think with we'll call them 4 albums under your belt, right? I mean, the last one was kind of an EP, but,
Yeah.
right? But
And the first one
it's
wasn't distributed well. It's a
well,
whole
and,
bunch of
I
stuff.
mean, there's some other things that I know about as well too.
Yeah.
Uh, but with those that many albums under your belt, I don't know if I would call myself still getting my feet wet.
Oh, I am. Only
And
10 years in, man. It's
and
it's still I feel it at times, and then I
okay.
go other places and, fan support is higher here, weaker here, and we're trying to build that, we're trying to do this,
Mhm.
and um I don't know, I've never felt like I've accomplished anything, but I do have
Oh,
moments where I look and go, "Oh, well, that was kind of cool."
I would beg to differ. You do have quite a few accomplishments, right? Let's
Yeah.
talk about the Pepsi
Yeah, that was I
contest.
mean, Rendy, Daryl, Moose, Ashley, everybody on that staff, um, they're just wonderful people. And what a way to kind of start.
Right.
And I mean, I had tried starting earlier than that,
Mhm.
and that was just nothing happened, nothing went anywhere, nothing. I mean, just nothing. So I know what nothing is, and I think I know nothing, and I think it's so burned in my mind. And right before that contest, I was homeless.
Right.
So I lived in my car for 7
Yeah.
months. So it's hard to even that thing. It's hard for me to like go, oh yeah, okay, that was, you know. My therapist says I got to work on it,
And
but
and from my standpoint, looking at the things that I've done, right? When I first started in radio and I started on the weekend and stuff like that,
yeah,
I look back and I go, that was nothing, right?
right. It's so
But
easy to do it, right?
exactly. And from that perspective, when it's you, I can
Yeah,
totally understand and totally see that. But being the person on the other side, I look at
yeah,
your just. I mean, you've got many accomplishments, but we're just talking here specifically when you won the nationwide Pepsi contest. That particular thing, to me, I think that's what kind of catapulted you and got your career
oh yeah.
sort of
I
started,
mean
so to speak. And as you said, it's not
that
an
that
accomplishment for
helped
you.
my artist career.
Yeah.
Writing the song with Brian Wilson and Casey Musgraves really helped the songwriting career. I mean, there was a point where a lot of people were asking to write, and I was writing. So it was with a different publisher, and it was like 3 4 times a day. And I never get burnt out because I love creating. Same guy playing the guitar earlier. Like I just love creating. But there was a sense of like this is a lot
Mhm.
because what was happening. I don't know if this happens to other songwriters, but it happened to me tremendously. People were getting upset I wasn't recording their songs.
Okay.
So I'd be writing like 80 to 90 songs per year. And then there'd be songwriters that would like message like, "Well, are you going to record my song?" And I still get some of that today, but I got it a lot in 2015, 16, and 17 of just we wrote these 3 songs and they're great and you don't want to record it and you should just give it to me so I can give it to someone else and take your name off it. It was like weird. It was stuff that my lawyer was like, nobody does this, you know.
Okay. All right.
So it didn't give me like a negative taste in my mouth, but when I signed with Synapse, which I was with for 8 years, there was a big emphasis of writing on my own.
Okay.
So no one really knows how that kind of came about. Those experiences came to, well, let's look at your catalog. And the songs they were looking at that were solo written, they felt were better. And they were like, why don't you do the next album, 86 Volume 1, all solo written, which was nerve wracking as hell. So I went completely away from your question, but
It's okay.
but it's hard to it's hard for me to really kind of sometimes be happy. And that's probably weird for you because I'm always smiling. Because I'm happy to this is fun.
Yeah, of
And
course.
playing music is fun.
Yeah.
But there are so many other times where, like, if I'm not doing those things, uh, life is
And
at
that's the
times.
same thing with me when I'm not behind a microphone. I'm kind of
Yeah,
like, huh. But
yeah,
when I'm behind a microphone or I'm talking to you folks, or
yeah,
lucky enough to have an interview with a talented artist,
yeah.
that's another one of those great things. So, all right. So 86 volumes, one, two.
Well,
Why eight?
technically three.
And well, it's an EP, like we
Do you
said
want to know why
earlier.
that came about?
Why 86 volume
Because
three came about?
nobody could pronounce my last name or say it.
Okay. Well,
And
that's what I was going to
and
ask.
there was so many days of let's change your name. We had a whiteboard
Okay.
and there's a million damn things on there. And nothing worked because I was never going to change Andrew because my grandfather was named Andrew. I'm named after him. And I love him. And I'm never changing Andrew.
Okay.
Like Andrew Tenuta, Andrew's like, but I was fine getting rid of Salgado. If there was something, if there was just something that worked. So we tried Andrew and every band name you can imagine. Andrew something else. The only one we came really close to was Andrew Myers.
Andrew Myers.
We came
Okay.
very close. We came very close to that being what you know.
Okay.
But I said this back then, and I say it now, and I said it so many times. If I was going to make it in country music, I had to do it authentically. Changing my name didn't seem like that was authentic.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I wanted people to know that I was going to be here, and sure, I was going to be here in 10 years instead of the same kind of music. I wasn't going to, because I saw so many people like 3 years in, and they'd be like, okay, I'm going to go do us, something else. And I'm like, I do country music because I love it. I listened to it when I was a kid and I got beat up for it. I came to Nashville and it wasn't super open arms, and I still did. And 10 years, I started going to Nashville in 2008 and moved there in 2013. But 14, 15 years later, I'm still doing it because it's actually what's inside me, just like
Mhm.
playing the song earlier. Now, some people will listen to me sing and go, "Well, that's not 100% country music." And I always said, I don't really know if it is or isn't. I just know what I love, and I just try to be me. I don't really know where that lane is.
Well, I think the thing of it is nowadays you really can't say like that's not country, right?
I don't know.
We well,
I try to stay away from anything political.
and I'm not going to go political, but we looked at some. Let's look at some of the trends going on in country music in the last couple of years. I mean, I was in the radio industry right when Beyonce's song kind of came
Yeah,
about, and everybody was like,
yeah.
that's not country
That bumped
music."
me from 62 to 63. And then Post Malone bumped me to 63 to 64.
There you go.
And now
Uh,
Ed Sheeran's coming in. So
right. Well, yeah.
65 is the goal now. It's fun. See, it's fun to make jokes because it's just an honor to be on the chart. It doesn't, it could be 80,
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, getting up there helps the career grow,
I understand.
but yeah.
But so I think the main thing from being a country music enthusiast for as long as I have, and the main thing from people that I've talked to, is that as long as there's a story involved,
Yeah, honest. A real story.
right,
Yeah.
an honest, real story,
Yeah.
I think
It works.
that's where it comes from, and that's what Summer Lovin' is all about. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that with the
Yeah.
listeners about what that song really is about. I don't think a lot of artists do that nowadays. I think a lot of artists try to, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
country artists. I'm talking
No
about other
other out.
genres.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't think I could. I produce anyone, especially if they pay. Um, because I can get behind a control board with an engineer and a band, and it's just music. But I could never write and kind of stretch into something else that really wasn't an honest story.
Yeah.
You know, kind of going back to your point. Why did it become 86 Volume One? Because I was born in August, right on the 8th in 1986, and I was like, I need something that people can easily remember.
Okay.
So we just named the album 86, and then right before we were about to release it, we were going to do a double album, and there are people who paid for 86 Volume One and 86 Volume Two, and then we gave them 86 Volume Two for free. But
Okay.
it came out 3 years later. But it was supposed to be 6 months. It was supposed to be 86 Volume One, 86 Volume Two, 6 months, and like then it didn't happen. And then the label was like, Well, we just spent a bunch of money on 86 Volume 1. And 86 Volume 1 did not do as well as Absolutely Everything or 86 Volume 2.
Okay.
In the eyes of whatever, it did not do well. There's other standard terms for that, but it didn't do well, but a couple songs did. Like Out of the Blue, especially live. The response from Out of the Blue live was incredibly good. Like I still can play it today to a new audience and they're all in.
No, and if you hear that song, if you haven't listened to it, by the way, go ahead and listen to it because that's another one of the songs
Yeah.
in like the catalog that I would say like that's another one of my favorite songs of yours.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's another one of
that was the
those.
big turning point
Yeah.
in my writing career where that song got me the Synapse deal.
Okay.
So there's a song called My Family that really helped me win the Pepsi Golf Coast Jam. And then I Miss You got me my publishing deal with Synapse. And
Another great song.
well, I wrote that in a hotel after going on a date with someone that I was on and off, on and off, on and off, and really kind of thinking about all these relationships where they just kind of end.
Mm.
And it's always just thought we had everything figured out. We had nothing else to talk about, right? As far as what are we, where are we going, and then out of the blue, it just, it just didn't work. Um, but yeah, so 86 was so easy to remember. And then when I knew I was working on another album, it was before we knew if I had a deal. So something I'll never do again is if I don't have a deal to record another album for a label, I just won't do it. And I did that. I thought they were going to re-sign me, and I thought we were going to come to an agreement. We really didn't. And this is good podcast information stuff. But I recorded those 5 songs, and I remember telling Autumn like I really shouldn't record anything if we don't have an album because it's going to get sticky like it is right now. And so I went, well, I love the songs. Like I told you, I love the songs, and let's just do it. So I was definitely not going to rename it anything else because I want to save those for like other things. So I was
Okay.
like 86 Volume 3,
Okay.
even though it was an EP. Now, what happened really weirdly is that, 8886, right? Well, the first album had 8 songs because that's all we could afford. And I never even thought, oh, that's cool. We released it February 8th. And then the last one had 6, which we didn't really, I mean, it was a kind of closing, right? And 8 plus 6 is 15. And there were 15 songs on the second one. So I thought that was, I look at numbers all the time.
Well,
My wife
yeah.
hates it. And I thought that was just really cool. But 86 Volume 2 was the one that, I mean, Lipstick Stains got on the small charts and it opened the door. Learning How to Forget went through the door
Yeah. Another great
and
song.
got to, that was the first like, oh, you're on Music World Magazine, where like I looked into it and I like got the magazine, looked and saved it. Um, and that was, and then Why Didn't I Call You already had a bunch of people ready to listen to it. And then it expanded into the big stations, which you were a part of. And then I got to be
Just
friends.
kidding.
I got to be friends with guys like you.
Yeah.
I mean, our relationship is real, but Mike Thomas and me and Phil Nee up in Green Bay, even though he's a Packer fan, nobody's perfect.
Right.
Great. I mean, I still text him when the Bears beat them
Of course you do.
this year in January, and I was at the game. I don't know if we should go into this, but like to make those relationships, and Steve and Iowa, and there's more, and I can't name them all, but like that's really cool. Why Didn't I Call You did that? And then what was really sad was I dislocated my shoulder the day Like He Should came out.
Mm.
So there was no radio tour. And it still got to 63, which is literally what I love about country music is the song is all that matters.
Right.
No media tour, no music video, no lyric video, no, I mean almost nothing but a guy doing this for 7 months. trying to heal himself, right? This took 9 months. And then this was at a full, like this is recent.
Yeah.
Um and then in November I stopped being able to sing, which I had a polyp on my vocal cord, which I've never done a video like this talking about it, which we'll definitely use this for promotion to let everybody know. And then it was like, oh, why can't I sing? Took us 3 months to find the polyp because it was behind. So they had to really go in there to find it, I guess. I don't know. It's just what I was told.
No, I remember the picture still. I
Yeah.
still have it like it's ingrained in my brain.
Well, then they were like, okay, you want to do surgery? I'm like, yeah. And I got lucky with my arm. They did surgery a week after meeting the doctor. So I just thought that's how, because it was my first surgery ever. I was like, oh, that's how it goes. You go see the doctor, and a week later, you go get this taken care of. And they were like, yeah, about 6 weeks out. And I was like, 6 weeks out. And then 2 weeks of not talking to anybody really. And I was like, that's gonna put it like to April or May, man. Like I just started last week with a vocal coach. Great guy. He could hear things and like know how I was by just hearing it. Like I've never really worked with a vocal coach prior to being 13 or like maybe I don't know 10 or 11 whatever it was. So it's been a long time since I've gone in there where someone's playing a piano and you're really trying to work. But yeah, so I mean we did nothing for Like You Should. And I don't know how much we're going to be able to do with Summer Love too, because I can't I don't know if I can do this on a I can barely do our podcast that we're doing, which is on the same network. In case you didn't know, the Rise Network.
Can I call you Dad?
Yeah, I mean we're on the same. We didn't even mention that we're on the same network. We should be pretty happy about that.
We are on the same network. That's
our show is vastly different than yours.
Well,
yours has structure and control.
Well, you guys have good topics and you have interesting things. Like I remember one of my favorite ones from the first season, because I've been watching for the 2 seasons now. Is you had Andy Avalos on.
That was nuts.
And the three of you
that made me so nervous to do any other like interview with any other guest, because I knew we couldn't ever top it, because Andy is like my uncle.
Right.
I've known Andy since I was born, and them two are best friends.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And it like if you think my dad's always on, if you ever watch our show, he's extremely on when Andy's there. And the two of them, if you watch that show, I'm not really doing much, but just kind of going like this.
Right. Yeah, you look like you're watching a tennis match.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's what I said. Right.
Except the best part about the tennis is the moans. Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
And then they call it love. Anyway, so
yeah, break point.
There we go. All right, so
I apologize for being so all over the place.
No, it's fine.
I'm media rusty. My last media interview was in 2024.
But here's the thing. I'm the kind of guy that I want to show people what they don't get to see all the time, right? And I think this is perfect. This is showing you as you are. And that's the thing about country music. That's the thing about you. You are just a raw individual. And I don't mean that in a sense of like, you come off brash or anything like that. When you speak, you're speaking from the heart, and you can tell.
I don't really know how to, like, everything is just how I am.
Right. And you're not faking. No. And that's the thing. And I think that's what makes you genuine. That's why I wanted you on the show.
Thanks.
Because my fans, I have a feeling, appreciate those individuals that, can do their thing and do it well, like you do. And then can also turn around and tell you, oh, here's some things about me and things of that nature, right? Because one of the things that in the years of radio that I've done, one of the things that a lot of listeners would ask me, be like, so what's this person like really? Like when the microphone's down and the camera's not on and the lights.
You've already seen it. Like this is, we've gone and seen movies together.
Well, yeah, that's true. And that's part of the question that we'll get to. We're not going to go there just yet, though, because I have one other question for you.
Okay. I do want to answer. I had a whatever you want to call it, note about Grace that I think you might like if it is your song. So
absolutely.
Like I had a very spiritual time writing it. It's really just Amazing Grace. It's my version of Amazing Grace.
So here's the funny thing.
Okay.
Well, I figured as much, but I wasn't sure. But here's the thing. The first time I met your dad, him and I had a very long conversation about you. And
he has long conversations with everybody.
Well, okay. Now
if you sit down with
I don't feel so good.
Well, no, he loves everybody.
Yeah.
My dad, if you let him talk, he's like Robin Williams.
Yeah.
The gift that you could give Robin Williams was what? Letting him entertain you.
Of course.
That's my dad.
Yeah, for sure. But the one thing that I said to him, and I haven't shared this with you yet, and I'm about to do it right here, right now in front of your face, is that when I told him, because he's like, so what songs of my kid, my kid is what he said at the time,
I
but
know.
we were at a bar and whatever, he may or may not have had a drink or two, but
It's
anyway,
always a rum and coke for him.
yeah.
He's like that, not liquored up.
No, I know, which is why, and it was the first day I met him too, and I was kind of like, wow, we're just vibing
Yeah.
already. It was right, exactly. Which there may be something in the work on that, but we'll leave that alone. Anyway, he said, so what are some of the songs that my son wrote that you like and stuff? And I said, I said, I really like Grace. And he looked at me and he was like, that's one of my favorite songs of his. And I said,
Yeah.
that needs to be on K Love. And he looked at me and he was like,
Yeah.
yeah. He goes, that would be a great song for K Love. So it's great
Yeah,
that
talk
you,
to the label, right?
right. Well, but it's great that you
But see,
said it the way
country
that you said it,
music is like a neighbor of Christian music,
for sure.
and every now and then they borrow sugar,
Well,
right?
yeah. I
And,
mean,
and it's so close because there's all these songs, God gave me you, right?
yeah.
Blake Shelton and all these.
And then it was recorded by a
Yeah.
Christian artist as well,
Yes.
for sure.
But then there are songs that, we talk about beer and drinking and love and sex, and that's not on there.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
why I said neighbor. You borrow sugar when you
yeah,
need to.
of course, of course. And that's funny because we were having a conversation about some of the songs that I was picking to do in my top 5 picks of the week,
Yeah.
and Big Daddy Weave came up, and I know them from being a Christian band, and you and I
Yeah.
shared the conversation about that. So that's how this whole thing intertwines. And speaking of intertwining, so what's next for you? What do we have going on? I know there's something coming up in
So
September,
much.
and
No,
there's
there's
some
so
other
there's
things
so
going
much that
on.
even you don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's
So
why.
like
So let
I'm
us.
I'm gonna be featured on a lot of projects for other people.
Okay.
Some I'm producing.
All right.
I'm producing 6 to 7 people myself as well.
Okay.
We have a production team, and it's possible I front the band as well.
Okay.
So that's something you haven't, but it would have to be. It's a lot of talks of it right now. It'd have to be almost the same kind of music. I'm not going to change how I write and all this other stuff. What
Okay.
other people bring into it, let them do. But I got to do my own thing.
Okay.
It's going to be a while before I do any album under Andrew Salgado.
Okay.
That's why there's going to be a lot of features. There's still more songs going to radio from 86 Volume 3 over the next couple of years.
Well, I got to imagine that he drives a truck.
Drove a truck, probably.
Got to be one of them,
But
right?
see, I don't really get to make those decisions.
Okay.
I don't own the music.
Right.
So it's a very weird time because autumn was like, normally we celebrate releases coming out. We're not celebrating anything coming out because it's not,
Right.
I love it and I don't at the same time. I don't really know how to explain that.
Mhm.
But it's a difficult thing, but there's a lot happening. I also have my own benefit concert.
Right. That's coming up
And
in September.
here's how this happened. So Premiere is presenting it, so they're paying for everything. And so it was like, you can do whatever you want to do. And I sat and went, man, I don't really know. I've never headlined. I don't even know how the stage. Right now I got people asking me how the stage should be designed. I don't know. I've never done it before. I have no clue how we're going to do all that. And we have a funny promotion video that we're going to do showing how I really don't know what to do.
Okay.
Like I don't even like. Somebody asked me about the lights, and I was like, "How many lights you got?" Oh, we got like 800. I was like, "Oh, well, maybe put them on." Like I there's lighting guys that like put up
Yeah,
this like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all this stuff that as an opener and this has never really been a question I've ever had to answer.
So, fun fact for you,
Sure.
you and I are about to share a stage together.
Well, you're going to MC it.
Well, not that.
Oh.
I performed on that stage before
Oh
you did.
yeah.
I was in
Prairie Lake.
a production of West Side Story.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, I did tell you that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I played Glad Hand, the gym teacher.
There you go.
So, but yeah, so we're about to do that.
I do have we can't keep jumping, but I do have a plaything for you.
Okay.
I reached out to a very local community plaything because I was bored last year and needed stuff to do before I started coaching baseball. And I got a response back of like, everybody auditions.
Right.
I don't care who the hell you are.
Right.
You got to audition. And I was like, okay, can you? I don't know what an audition is. I was like, I did acting when I was a kid with my dad and all the commercials and stuff. And I was like, just let me know what this is.
Isn't it funny how he's
like.
talking and typing at the same time? Like,
Because it was an email.
you can literally see him going through it.
It was an email. And so the response back was like, I don't know, we get like top tier talent or like all this other kind of, and it was a community theater thing. It's free. There was no money. I was like, I'll take any role.
Wow.
I
Okay.
was like, I don't have the time to audition because I was still traveling. I'm like, but when I get there, like after the audition, like I can still audition if you like let me, whatever it was. And it was just like this no, and I was just like, Jesus, man. I just I'll take like a tree.
Wow.
Like I just want to like get on stage and do anything.
Okay.
So now
All
I'm
right.
too nervous to do anything in that kind of world.
Well,
I don't know if I would even be
challenge
good at it.
accepted.
Well, yeah. I mean, let me know.
So you mentioned Premiere,
Good. Thank
right?
you so
No,
much.
you're welcome.
Help me stay on
Oh,
track
you're
of my.
you're good.
I need to go back and do media training. That was something that was given to me a long time ago, and it really helped me. Like when I met you for the first time, you knew, oh, this kid's had training.
Yeah.
I've lost all my training, vocally
Well,
and media
and
wise.
media wise, okay. Well,
So
hey, let's call this the training ground,
training
Officer
ground.
Hoyt.
There
How's
you
that?
go. There
You
you go.
like that? See what I did
I
there
did.
too? Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
So it's your
Premiere,
training day.
Premiere and David, wonderful people. Lloyd and everybody there, and they were like, "You can do whatever you want to do." And so I sat back and I was building a show, and I was like, "Well, I want to bring in guests. I've always wanted to do that, like an Andrew
Mhm.
Salgado and Friends kind of a thing." So I got lucky. No one really said no. There were two people that I had asked that were on the fence, and if it and at that same time, I went back to David and said, "I have a crazy idea because I know you guys want to make money, but can we do a benefit concert where every year I have a different charity that I just raise money for, and we just give it to them?" And to my surprise, David was the one that was like, "Oh, I love it."
Mhm.
He's like, "But if we do it, we have to do it right. We have to give them half of the gross."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, well, we're probably going to lose. Like, we're probably going to lose money." And it was like, "Yeah, but this is the way to do it." And David was like, "Let's just make sure they're great charities."
Mm.
And I said, "I don't really know how to do that, so I'm going to let you do that." So they found the Glen House Food Pantry, fantastic charity. Look them up. They're doing wonderful things to help bring food to people who need it, especially with prices the way they are now.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So to know that we're going to hand them a check that night and help out, and I mean that's really cool. So I mean, September 4th, Des Plaines, Illinois, Prairie Lakes Theater. I think it's 515 East Thatcher or something,
That sounds
maybe
about
West or
right.
something,
Yeah.
something like that.
It's also Dempster Road too.
Dempster Road.
If you've ever
There you
lived
go.
in that area, actually Dempster Street, I think is what it is. But
Yeah,
yeah, I used to live like 2 minutes away from there
yeah.
at one point.
And I've got incredibly talented people coming. Hey Jay, that I met at the Synapse Star Search that I was hosting, incredibly young, powerful voice. I remember being backstage, and they made me the host, tour manager, stage manager, driving helper. Like they burnt me out on that tour. And I remember being backstage, like, okay, who's next? And I heard the voice, and I was just like,
Mm.
wait till you hear her voice because you're going to be there that night. Our MC is Chris Miles because I said, you need to do me a favor and I can't pay you. And he said, I was in when you said I need.
Right. I was when you said I.
Yes. When I walked through the door, you were like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
Exactly.
Um, but no, I mean, wait till so she's going to do 3, 4 songs with me. And then Lindsay Crawford,
Mm.
an incredible voice and cool full circle 10-year moment. She was the girl in my very first music video for Dance On.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's just cool. And then a good friend of mine from LA, incredibly good guitar player, Mike Silvestri. Um, it's fun to bring people in that are just super talented. I mean, the stuff Lindsay's doing now, she's growing her career. She's becoming bigger by day. You probably need to listen to some of her new
I've
music.
listened to some of her music
Not that
already.
I can push it on the top 5 or anything. I have no power, even though we're at the same network. But I mean, I can ask the heads up right now, Alex, and be like, "Hey, Alex, can you get Chris to do this?" But
You don't have to ask. She's actually going to be in one of the up
is
and
she
coming.
really?
Yeah, I got.
Get out of
Yeah,
here!
no, yeah,
She's such a
yes,
low, like powerful
yes.
register, and
Hmm.
just I mean that I'm so looking forward to playing that show. I'm not looking forward to designing all of the stuff and all the other stuff, but I think after I do it the first time, just like my first tour and the first time in the studio, Like my first time in the studio in 2008, we did a demo, horrible demo, horrible demo. And that's when I met Lee Taylor, who I still work with today. So just a beautiful friendship that me and Lee have. Um, I was so bad and nervous in the studio. I remember it's so bad now, like looking down at lyrics while while singing because there was no education. So I would just like, baby, give me run, baby, and they were like,
You got to sing into the mic.
yeah. So then I was like, yeah, but I can't. I remember this being so
How do
difficult
how
in
do I do
2008,
this?
you know. But you learn, you live and you learn. So I'm sure that September 5th, I'll be like, oh, this is great. And here's the best part that you don't know. This isn't a 1 year thing.
Mm.
We'll be there the next 5 years. 5 different charities, 5 concerts, and special guests.
Could have something come from
You
that.
never know.
There's some other things that could be working in the
You
background that
never
you
know.
don't know about
I know
that I
very
could be
little.
working
My
on.
wife says it all the time. I know very little, but I pretend to know everything.
That's why you're scared of her.
That's yeah. I mean, there's probably other reasons.
I'm sure there is.
There's probably other reasons.
I'm sure there is.
So okay.
We talked
did
about
I at least cross everything that you had?
We're
Okay.
good. We're good. We're good. So we've
We'll
talked
see it on the
about
tape.
all the other things. Now we know kind of what's coming, so to speak.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah.
And this is one of those where this is going to be the signature question, okay, folks?
But I feel like you know my answer already.
All right, well, but yeah, of course I'm do.
Happy to go into it.
But we'll go into it briefly because it's kind of turned into some other things. So one of the things that I always love to ask people, because I feel this is a way to kind of get to know the artist a little bit beyond like what they want to talk about. What do you geek out on? What's the thing that you're like, oh my goodness, like if I don't do this,
so it's movies.
Nerd out on? Right.
It's movies.
Okay.
Now, even if it's not a favorite movie of mine, I love watching new movies. Like just the other night, I found this movie from 3-4 years ago. I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of those stupid movies that is funny because it's stupid, and I just love it. I think the real thing is that I don't have to create anything; I just get to watch.
Okay.
Because the rest of my life is constantly creating, from editing stuff to recording stuff to writing stuff, and I get to just watch. And my two biggest things. So you know about Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I love Marvel and DC probably more than anything. But Mission Impossible, which I'm going to see Friday, is like incredibly. Well, today, yeah, this airs on Fridays.
Yeah, well,
it's. I love those movies so much that I can rewatch it and kind of decompress. So when I'm traveling in the road, hotels, it's movies, movies, movies. I love reading too, but when I read, I get so inspired most of the times that, like, I was reading a book while on a bike one time. This is back when I was in shape, and I had to stop because for whatever reason I heard a melody, and I had to go get a guitar. And
wow.
I can watch movies without doing that.
Yeah.
And then I've even watched movies to inspire myself. Like I'll watch a romantic comedy. I went into a Blockbuster. It was a long time ago, like 2009.
There's still one around.
I know, but 2009. And I asked the lady. I think she thought I was hitting on her. I said, I need your opinion on a really good like rom-com so I can write.
Yeah. With a line like that, she thought you were hitting on her. Yeah.
And so she was like, they're over there. And I was just like, do you have any recommendations? She's like, I don't. And I was just like, and then I walked away going, I didn't really do that right. I probably should have. I could have done this a little bit better and been like, so I write songs for a living. Well, at that time I didn't, but I was writing songs to get to a living. But yeah, I mean, there's times where I will watch a movie and then when it's done, then I can go write. But all these other times, like I'm in the shower, sometimes I think of something. I wrote Like He Should after me and my wife were talking while we were like getting ready to go to bed. And then I grabbed the guitar and she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have to write. She was like, well, we were talking. And I was just like, hold on. And then I literally went, cause you call me all the time in the middle of the night, crying and complaining that he's wasting your time. And she literally,
that was free, by the way.
And anyway. she literally went, finish that.
Right. Of course.
And then she watched the whole process. She's done that a lot where she's just like, you're going to record that song, right? And I was like, I don't know. I just wrote it. She's like, what it's about. And I didn't really want to tell her. I was like, well, it's about like being in the friend zone. I mean, here I am sitting in bed with my wife thinking about other people that have put me in the friend zone, and then writing a song about it that now lives in the world. But I have such a supportive wife. I love that song. It's such a great story. And I was like, yeah, well, it's a real story. And I think from her perspective, she's like, yeah, those are all the women that never wanted you. There's no, I'm not threatened by any of it.
No, and that's the thing. That's the thing to remember is that like she's your wife, and
Yeah,
like sharing those moments with her and sharing your creative process with her
yeah.
is what makes it even a greater experience, so to speak.
I
So
did worry that I wouldn't write from the past anymore when I got married, but I mean that changed. The next day, I wrote a song about like something that happened like 4 or 5 years earlier, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, this is really just who I am. I write songs about anything,
right.
you know." So, anywho, we probably went too far long,
Yeah.
but long story short, movies is the only way I can really decompress.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Of course, appreciate you coming along as well.
Yep.
And, check out all of his stuff, actually. But obviously,
Summer
like you
Love.
should, Summer Love.
Request it.
But
People
then,
still do that.
yeah, but then there's also on 86 Volume 3. He's going to hate me that I'm about to do this. But there's another song on there
Oh, the
that you
cover
should
song?
check out, the cover song.
That's a whole nother podcast episode
Of course,
about
we won't go there.
what a unique experience that was for me to record that.
Yeah.
So many, so many things. I got lucky that the producer is a good friend of mine and at top. He worked with Stevie Ray Vaughan, a whole bunch of people. We did it in Texas. Him and the engineer, best people in the world. There were other things that made it just so difficult for me to record a cover because
Yeah.
I ended up not being able to like play on it. This for another time, but it was a very unique experience.
Yes, and it's a very unique experience that you should listen to as well. So
It came out great.
it's absolutely amazing.
Not because of anything I just sang on it.
No.
Not because of anything I did, but like
And
some
if you're
wonderful
if
people.
you're anything like me and my girlfriend, it may take you down like a yacht rock reunion, so to
There
speak.
you go.
But
Yeah.
anyway, again, Andrew, thank you so much for being here, and also for the song, giving
Yeah.
the fans kind of what they wanted, an acoustic version as
Yeah.
well. Totally appreciate that. Of course, as always,
Thanks for being the first time I come back to singing.
hey, that is an honor of my
Yeah, it's
own
been since
as well.
November.
So, and an amazing performance as well. Again,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh, Tons of blessing on your career, and I am looking forward to what's coming up for you in the near future. So, was that a performance and an interview or what? I told you guys I'm going to dig a little bit deeper and try to get some things that you may or may not know about these artists. So great interview with Andrew, of course. So happy that he was able to find some time to hang out with us, perform for us, and give us a little insight on some of his songs. Of course, my favorite one there, Grace. Absolutely love that song. You heard a little bit of the story about that as well, and some things that, I've been able to share with him. And of course, we got to ask the question, the one that I've been telling you about. What do you nerd out on? What do you, get all crazy about and stuff like that? Andrew so graciously answering that for us as well. And that's been the show for this week. Tune in again next week when I give you my top 5 picks. And of course, we'll talk about where the songs landed on the charts and in streaming and everything. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been New on Music Row. Click the link, like, subscribe, share with your friends, your family. Just give us all the love and support. And hey, if there's somebody you want me to take a look at, let me know. You get all the information down here somewhere. I think it's going to be like right here or something like that. But anyway, again, thank you for joining me this week. Have a great weekend and enjoy your long holiday weekend.